Hey, how's it going, Casey?
Hey, I'm awesome. How are you?
Doing great. Obviously, on Wednesday, you got your semifinal match coming up in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. You and Kayden Carter against Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. It's going to be a great match. Obviously, you and Kayden have history with Dakota and Raquel. What's going to make this matchup different this time around? And obviously, the outcome as well.
I mean, I think the main difference is just me and Kaden are so different than what we have been able to show people up until now.
Hmm.
Like, we haven't really gotten much chance as a tag team or even on our own to really show all that we have. And I think people get these little glimpses. And whenever people get those little glimpses, they always want more. And we haven't really been able to give it all yet.
Hmm.
So I think that is what makes this difference is that, like, this is the tag team classic. Like, this is it. This is huge. This is monumental. And we finally get to be out there together. I have her in my corner. We have evolved so much as to not being afraid anymore of like showing who we are and everything we have. And now we get to be in there together and we want to win the whole thing. Like there's nothing that is going to stop us.
And it's the first ever women's Dusty Classic that we've ever gotten in the last 5 or 6 years, I think, since they started doing the men. So, what was your reaction to finding out that there was going to be a women's Dusty Classic this year? And do you feel like it was made for you and Kayden?
Oh, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like we were so excited. I mean, these things are huge in themselves. Even when I got to be part of the Mae Young Classic,
Mm-hmm.
like anything like this that we get to honor someone so great is amazing. Anything like this where the women get to come out and show how great we are and show that we can keep up with the men. Those are always great opportunities. But the fact that this was the women's Desiro Tag Team Classic, we finally had something for the women. You know, me and Kayden have been really waiting for our shot to break out as a tag team. And
Mm-hmm.
so for this to come up right now was just like, wow, this is perfect timing. I feel like I was starting to get more into my groove of finding myself in the ring personally. And that helped having Kayden to bounce off of now to be able to grow with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this just couldn't have come at better timing for us.
And obviously, it's no secret that you and Kayden are really close behind the scenes. You guys are great friends. So, how did the partnership come about? Was that like an idea of your guys to kind of team up and take this friendship to an on screen level, or was that kind of an idea or a circumstance sort of thing?
It's funny. It kind of happened where, you know, when Kayden got to NXT a little bit after I did,
Mm-hmm.
she always talks about how her first live show that we had was in a tag with me. And it was just kind of like, you know, for live shows, we get to try stuff out. Sometimes it's just like, we want more women in there. We'll throw a couple tag teams in.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Kayden got thrown together and we were in the ring and we were kind of like, damn, we can like do a lot of stuff together. Like
Yeah.
we're like, wait a second, this like really works.
Mm-hmm.
We had the chemistry. Our move set is like similar but different. She always jokes that like people call her a high flyer, and she's not, but she has that lucha-esque to her.
Mm-hmm.
So like we kind of balance each other well with that. And then after that, we were just like, man, this can really be something. We became friends on the outside, you know, of work, and then just kind of kept trying to get those moments where we could show people like, if you give us the chance, we can really show you things you've never seen before. And we're just trying to do that every little bit that we can, every chance that we get, you know?
Mm-hmm. Was there a moment that you guys had where you realized, okay, this is my new best friend right here? Or was it more of like a gradual process for you guys?
It's funny. We always joke about, because me and Kayden are so different. And she always jokes about that when we met. She was like, you were just so nice. And I like didn't know what to do with you. Because she's like, I'm kind of like, it makes me kind of want to be like, I don't know, this is enough. And then we kind of like really balance each other out, where she's really helped me find my more kind of aggressive side, where I'm not afraid to be myself. And I don't feel like I always have to be this smiley person all the time. Like I can, you know, stand up for myself as well. And I can get what I deserve. And she's really helped kind of light that fire for me. And then I kind of reel her back when we have to.
Yeah.
But it's funny because now she kind of has unleashed this beast and now she's reeling me back. So it's like we keep just this balance between each other where like we just, the more we talked, the more we got in the ring, we were like, it just like clicked and we were like, this is what we're supposed to do. Like we're supposed to be in here together.
And you kind of talked about the evolution of yourself right there, but how is the Casey of today different from the Kacy Catanzaro that arrived in NXT? Because you signed or officially signed on in early of 2018, right? Was it January of that year?
Yeah, it's been like exactly 3 years right
Wow.
now that I signed. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
Mhm.
I can't even, oh my gosh. There's not even enough time to talk about the differences, but I would say the main things is like, you know, coming in, well, first of all, coming in to the Performance Center with no wrestling experience was really scary because, I was a wrestling fan. I came in with all of these already incredible wrestlers, incredible athletes from all over the world, all different types of walks of life. And I came in and I just kind of felt like, oh, wait, like, I don't know if I belong here. I don't know if I'm going to be welcomed here. I don't know if I'm going to be good enough here. Like, all those doubts, all those worries. And I feel like for a while, I let that put me in a box where I was just like, okay, I'm just supposed to be in this corner, in this box, and only do this and only say that, and I'm going to do that, and that's what's going to happen. And that just didn't work. It didn't work for me in the ring. It didn't work for me mentally. It didn't work for me in my well-being of anything. And I just kind of, when I turned into this feeling of like, I can do what I'm supposed to, but still be more myself and not be afraid to show that and not be afraid if maybe people aren't going to like that or not be, not be insecure about that. Yeah. And when that kind of busted free and I came back and I was like, this is me now, guys. Like, I am not going to be this scared person in the corner. Like, I'm going to show you what I have. And it was crazy that people loved it. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, now I get to be myself. I get why people love it. I get why people have fun out there. I get, you know what I mean? It all clicked more when I kind of got to unleash that, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it right there. That was actually my next question for you. The time that you took off in 2019 before coming back in almost exactly a year ago. You signed in early, almost exactly like you said, 3 years ago in January of 2018. Came back almost exactly a year ago in NXT TV in the Battle Royal. Got that great reaction. How beneficial was that time off for you in realizing maybe something you didn't realize before or whatever it might have been?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's so crucial with professional athletes, and especially in this business. Like, our bodies and our minds are so important to what we do. I mean, to everyone, but, we're talking about this business. It's so important, and I feel like sometimes those don't line up. And at that point, I was recovering from an injury that I had, and recovering from that injury really gave me that time to kind of work on my mindset on things and be like, okay, like, when I am here, like, how can I improve on myself and my well-being and me as a person here in order to be the best wrestler that I could be out there. And that time off, with recovering and rehab with my injury allowed me to really figure that out and be like, wow, okay, when I'm clear to get back in the ring and when I'm ready, like, what do I want to be? I get to choose this. You know what I mean? And it really kind of got to clear my mind and make me come back with such a better mental aspect of it that allowed me to be my better self in the ring, really.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it was great to see you come back in the Battle Royal. The reaction was great when you came out, and you got the full entrance, too. It wasn't like you were just in the Battle Royal, you got the full entrance. It was like, oh, she's back, which was a great moment. Was there any point during that absence where you thought to yourself, this might not be for you, and that you were close to stepping away and doing something else? Because, people run with rumors. Your profile was removed from the website, blah, blah, blah. Was there any point where you thought, okay, this might not be for me, or was it always a matter of coming back? It was just more a matter of when?
I mean, I can't speak for anybody else. There are multiple times a week that I talk to myself about, okay, what do I want to do next? What do I want to, like, everybody goes through that. And I think especially in this business, it's a really tough one where if you don't absolutely love this, like, it's not for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you don't absolutely love this, you're not going to make it because it's tough and it's hard and it takes a long time and you have to have patience and you have to have grit and you have to keep going. Like, it is one of the hardest things I've ever done, which makes it one of the most, like, beautiful things you can ever do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think with that time off, obviously through my head, I'm like, okay, am I going to be better from this injury? Is my back going to be okay? And when I am physically okay, am I mentally going to be ready? It's, it's that wave that we're constantly dealing with. But luckily, like, one of the things that I love most about WWE and NXT is how much they help with our mental health. Like, all of the seminars that we do, all of the resources they give us, everything that we do, like, we are not just a physical athlete out there. They know that we are people and that we need help in all of our walks of life. So when I'm at the Performance Center and when we work here, we don't just train in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, we have seminars, we have people, we have therapists, we have all of these things that it's like to be able to lean on all of those resources so that you have your life that isn't just wrestling, and that makes wrestling be more fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know that you can survive it. You have all these resources. And I think that really helped me a lot through that as well.
Was there any one piece of advice that helped you through, whether it be from a peer or a family member or anyone else that was like, okay, that really stuck with me and that's going to help me? Everything you just said that helped you realize, okay, I obviously have to be really dedicated to this in order to make it, blah, blah, blah. Was there any one piece of advice that you got that really stuck with you and that still sticks with you today?
Yes, I feel for me personally, one of my hardest things was coming in, not having wrestled on the indies, not having had any wrestling experience.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very like alienated, where I was like, okay, I didn't come from wrestling. People think I don't deserve to be here. And I was so worried about what other people thought, whether it was true or not. I was so worried about what other people thought that I was letting that drown me into not being who I was supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people gave me the advice of like, listen, you work hard, you put your time in, you've done a lot to get here. Like, you need to be you and show that, and people will see it. And if the people don't see it, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people gave me that advice of like, you need to do you and you work hard and you do what you're supposed to and don't worry about anything else and everything will fall in. And that's when I feel like these weights were lifted off of me and that I didn't have to worry about everyone else. Like, I could worry about what I knew I was putting in and knowing that no matter how long it takes, no matter this, like, that will come around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know for sure. And obviously it paid off because all these months later, a year later, you're clicking with Kayden and you guys are a great tag team and you now find yourself in the semifinals of the Dusty Classic on Wednesday, which is cool. But before we get to the semifinals, we got to talk about the quarterfinal match. I got to ask you, during the match with Tony and Mercedes, you busted out that awesome aerial maneuver. Where did that come from? What was that? What was the inspiration behind that move? Because that was great.
I feel like I said, for me and Kayden, like, we haven't really had the opportunity to show everything that we can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we were like, okay, I mean, Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez are two of the toughest women in NXT. Going into that match, we were like, we need to do everything that we can. Mm-hmm. There's no holding back. Like, this could be our only moment. We need to do it. And, for me, it's like, I have my gymnastics. I have that aerial awareness. And I was just like, okay, I need to flip and twist as much as I can to try and hit Toni as hard as I can to keep her down when we pin her.
Yeah.
And it worked. So that was exciting.
Did you practice it beforehand, or was it a one-shot thing where I'm just going to go out there and do it?
Oh, no, I definitely, I practice my stuff. I keep up with my gymnastics stuff. I keep up with my ring stuff. We're always, me and Kayden are always in there whenever we can, trying new stuff, depending on, we know our different opponents and what could work on different opponents. And we knew, hey, these are some of our toughest ones. We have to whip out the big stuff. And, we had practiced that. Obviously not on anyone. We hadn't had it in a match yet where we had the opportunity to pull it out, but doing it on the mats, doing it on, our little fake Bob, person that we have that we could practice stuff. We call him Bob, so it's safe and practice that. And we know that, all right, this is our big thing. If we get the chance in this match, I'm climbing up to the top. We're doing it. And so it was cool to be able to do that and see people's reaction, that they were excited. And, me and Kayden's thing is we want to do things people have never seen. And, not a lot of girls go off the top, but when they do, I'm like, all right, what do they not do? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We need to whip something like that out, and we need to just bring out the big guns.
Yeah, and it won you the match, so hopefully have similar success on Wednesday. Is there anyone that helped inspire your athleticism? Not only obviously here in NXT, but dating back to your days on American Ninja Warrior as well. Is there anyone that you looked up to and was like, I would love to be like this person, be as athletic as this person, try to do what they do, etc.?
I mean, Rey Mysterio is a huge inspiration to me. Mm-hmm. Even growing up, even before, when I grew up watching wrestling, I wasn't in the position that I thought to myself, I love wrestling, I'm going to do that. I just was so amazed by it that I didn't think it was ever possible. I just loved it. And Rey Mysterio has always been a huge inspiration to me because, he is one of the smaller guys, but that doesn't matter. And it really showed me that that doesn't have to mean that you can't be up there with the big guys. You know what I mean? He's been, years and years and years has been, in my eyes, obviously in a lot of people's eyes, one of the best wrestlers in the whole world. Yep. And to be able to see him, everything he's been able to accomplish, everything he's been able to overcome, the people he's been able to beat, the losses he's taken and the wins he's been able to get back, all of that inspiration obviously mixed in with his athleticism that I love. The physical and the emotional aspect of that, I've always just felt very connected with him and very inspired by okay, I want to be able to show that too, you know?
Yeah, no, I figured that was a given because every time you're in the ring, it gives a lot of people Rey Mysterio vibes. So that makes a lot of sense. What have you noticed?
And then tag team wise, like I was always a big Hardy Boys fan growing up. Me and my sister loved watching. So like even with me and Kayden, like I've always been a Hardy Boys fan. So I always definitely take inspiration from them as well.
Have you gotten to meet the Hardy Boys or Rey Mysterio so far in your time in the company or not yet?
Yes. Oh yes. I've had the opportunity to meet Matt and Jeff a bunch of times, Rey as well, and Rey Mysterio is one of those people that, like, you know how every now and then people will be like, oh, don't meet your heroes, you know, like, just keep them here. If everyone in the world, I'm gonna cry, could meet Rey, I would be like, this is why he is a hero.
Yeah.
He is one of the best wrestlers in the world. If he walked around and just didn't have time to speak to anyone, nobody would ever be offended. But he goes out of his way to make time to be. I mean, I came in not even having been on NXT TV yet or anything and saw him at a taping one time, and he just treated me like I was his best friend that he was chatting with, and like talking to me about wrestling, and okay, I've seen this, so like maybe I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you speaking to me? You're so amazing. Like, he's just so great. And I love that about him too. I think that goes a long way, that sometimes people forget, these days, that being that actual person on the outside as well matters. And I think that he shows that just through and through. He's one of my favorite people ever. Yeah,
Rey's the man. I'm not even really sure where that whole never meet your idol stuff came from, because I've never known that to be true. You know what I mean? Like, that just...
Exactly. I think it was one person met someone like 3 decades ago, met their random hero, and then made it bitter for everybody else. But I'm like, we are going to debunk that and let them know that is not the case.
Exactly. It's 2021. We got to move on from that.
I'm here for that.
What were your thoughts in the Women's Rumble on Sunday and Bianca's big victory?
Oh my gosh, I was in tears. I was lucky enough to be there watching.
Nice.
And it was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, especially to see, Rhea and Bianca in at the end, because they were 2 women that were here at NXT for such a long time with me before they got moved up. Before they got moved to Raw and SmackDown. It's like, I had so much personal experience with them as people that seeing them in the ring at the end, just like fighting it out. You could see the emotion, you could see the brawl, you could see the despair, the excitement, the everything. And then, when it was Bianca at the end, just to see in her face, like, that moment is so real. And just to see that for her, and to know Bianca personally, be a friend to her, know her journey, and be able to see that. I mean, all of us girls in the back were like holding back tears. I was in tears, but I'm very emotional. So everybody else was like holding back tears. I'm like, it's fine. I'm just happy. Everything's great. But it's cool to see those moments in another way, to see how far the women have come. You know what I mean? And to see how well they could show out to make everyone feel. That's what this is about, to make people feel something. You know what I mean? We can do cool stuff, and that is fun, but the way that Bianca made us feel in that moment when she won, I felt like I felt every bit of that, and that's what everything's about. I know that's the way all the fans felt as well. So it's like, that's just such a proud, exciting moment for the whole industry. You know what I mean? Yeah,
the emotion alone made it just an incredible moment. It was it really stood out as one of those, all-time memorable moments that people will never forget. With the Women's Rumble itself, actually, there was that picture that was circulating of everyone backstage. I don't know if it was the rehearsal or whatever, but everyone that was in the Women's Rumble was pictured. And you were in there too. Were you supposed to be in the Rumble, or were you just there supporting them?
I was there supporting everybody, and then I was also just a backup, just in case last minute anything happened, or anybody, needed to be switched, or anything happened like that. So I was just there. I wanted to be ready. I wanted to support everyone. Be a body if anybody needed anything. And so it was cool to be able to be there for everyone and experience it from outside the ring, because it's different. When you're in the ring and you're getting ready to go and you have all those different nerves, it's a totally different experience than being there like I was able to, and experience it from the outside and get to feel all of that, which was really cool.
And final few questions for you. How was that Rumble experience? You weren't in it this year, but you were in it 2 years ago, which was a great moment. And obviously, one of the more memorable moments of that match. What was that experience like for you, only a year removed from signing with WWE?
That was so cool for me. Obviously, when the few of us NXT girls found out that we were going to get to be in it. It was really cool for me, having never been on the main roster, having never been on a pay-per-view before. I was like, oh my gosh, wait, this is huge. We had, however many tens of thousands of fans that were there. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here. I remember when I was number 19. So I remember when it started, I was like, wow, this is like going really quick. And then they were like, okay, you're up next. And I was like, okay. And they were like 10. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening right now. Like, I'm not ready. And then like when I walked out, I remember like I waved and I looked around and just like the energy, the people, the everything. I literally looked around and I was like, don't cry. Okay, turn around, look at everyone. Okay, run. You got to get in the ring. Like, go. It was just it's such an amazing feeling that when people say, oh, like, this is why I feel this way, you're like, that must be cool. But in that moment, I was like, oh, my God, this is what they're talking about. Like, I feel it. This was amazing. And then it's over, and you're like, I want that feeling again. And that's where that fire comes in. That's where that drive comes in. You're like, I want that feeling,
Yeah. In front of like 40,000 people, no less, too. I think that one was in Phoenix, I'm pretty sure. That was another baseball field. So that was a wild, like, large
huge.
crowd. Yeah.
It was, I remember, like, wait, I can't even see the people. They're so far away. That's how many people there are. But within that, it was cool because in, the handstand safe spot, it's like with that many people, it kind of takes a while for, like, their reaction to, like, for you to hear it in the ring, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And, like, I remember I had my legs on, I did the handstand, and then when I sat up, I went to climb back up, and I was like, oh my God, I think they're cheering for me. Like, I was like, wait. And I was like looking around, I'm like, yeah, they saw that. They saw me. They're cheering for me, all of these people. Like, it was super, and it's a cool moment that, every year when the Rumble comes around, that there's those fans, there's those people that posted, and they're still excited about it, which obviously goes back to, like, Kofi and Naomi and people I've always looked up to in the Rumble in that way, to be able to be excited for that, Yeah,
and you've etched your name among them, which is awesome. And final question for you. Obviously, you've had a lot of matches with Dakota, Raquel. Rhea Ripley would probably be my answer to this question, but who has been your favorite opponent so far? Because it feels like you and Rhea have had great chemistry. But in terms of your favorite opponent, is there anyone else that comes to mind for you in your last couple of years in NXT?
I mean, yeah, if I had to, obviously it's hard to choose, but if I had to, it would be between Rhea and Raquel, I would say. Mm-hmm. Both of them and I think it's because I've had the opportunity to have bigger matches with them. Mm-hmm. So, in my first Mae Young, I faced Raquel and Rhea, and those were my first kind of big TV matches that I had. And then, some of our big tag team stuff I've had against Raquel. Some of my biggest moments, even in the Rumble, were with Rhea. So I think it's, I've had these really big, memorable moments with them that we've been able to show out. And whether I come out, on top or come out on the bottom, I always have that feeling where I'm like, we did it out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think that's what matters. So they are definitely top two in my mind up there always. Super grateful.
Definitely. And people can check that out on Wednesday, NXT, you and Kayden versus Raquel and Dakota. Semifinals, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, NXT USA Network on Wednesday night. Kacy, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Can't wait.